Biden will become the fifth U.S. president to sit down with Russian President Putin. And as usual in these summits, there are a number of critical issues. Joining us now, former Secretary of State under President Trump, Mike Pompeo. Mr. Secretary, welcome back.
Good morning, Chris. It's great to be with you again, sir.
You just heard my conversation with Secretary Blinken. Your reaction?
Well, generically, when I hear the administration talk about taking America back, they're talking about back to what President Obama did for 8 years, where America was weak. We might have been liked. I've seen a lot of people talk about how they're having this really fun time over at the G7 and everybody likes President Biden. What's important is not that they like America, but that they respect us, that we deliver good outcomes for the American people. We need to focus on the things that matter most to America. When I hear that they have raised climate change to the singularly most important topic that they're going to cover when the great European economies and the great economy of the United States of America meet together to have a chance to grow and create prosperity and build out peace throughout the world. When I hear the Green New Deal is the top of the agenda, I worry that we've raised an issue that is not the thing that will make lives better for the American people most quickly and most dramatically.
As we've said, the centerpiece of this trip is this coming Wednesday in Geneva when President Biden sits down with Russian President Putin. You have been critical of Biden as being too soft on Russia. You criticized the fact that he renewed the START 5 nuclear arms treaty. You criticized the fact that he also lifted the sanctions that allow completion of the Nord Stream gas pipeline between Russia and Germany. When these two men sit down on Wednesday, are you worried about what's going to happen?
Well, I heard Secretary Blinken say the right words, right? We want to find the places that we can work alongside the Russians. We tried to do that too. But there was no administration that was tougher on Russia. We worked diligently to support Ukraine with defensive weapon systems. We built out the United States military. Chris, we left NATO $400 billion stronger than we took over. We built out that relationship between the United States and NATO in a way that really put pressure on Vladimir Putin. What I'll look for is the actions. It won't be about what is said. It won't be about whether the tone is right. It will be about the actions that the United States government is prepared to take to preserve and defend American interests and stop Russian malign activity around the world. You'll recall when you hear President Biden talk about taking us back is the Russians taking Crimea on the watch of President Obama, a fifth of Ukraine. That's not a back that the United States can afford to allow to happen. We need to move forward, and we need to continue to defend the United States against the threats that Vladimir Putin may pose, whether it's cyber or kinetic or any of the other information efforts that Vladimir Putin will try to foist upon America if President Biden is weak.
Well, let me ask you about a specific issue, and I think it's right now at the top of the agenda, and that is ransomware, these attacks on vital U.S. infrastructure coming from gangs out of Russia. I asked Secretary Blinken about that, and he said with the support of all the allies that the U.S. is prepared to take action. He wouldn't say what it was, but to take action if Russia is going to continue to harbor these gangs. What action should President Biden be willing to take?
So, Chris, it's really a tale of three pipelines, right? We shut down 10,000 jobs with the Keystone Pipeline here in the United States of America, and then they permitted the Russian pipeline to continue to be built that will threaten the heart of Europe's energy infrastructure. And then, of course, you were referring to the cyber attack on the Colonial Pipeline. President Trump and our team were very clear about what we would do in response to cyber attacks. We changed, it's a pretty arcane idea, but we changed the NSPM, the rules that permitted us to respond to these attacks. I hope that the Biden administration will use the tools that we provided. We've got the capacity to respond to this in a way that imposes costs not only on the perpetrators themselves, sometimes criminal gangs, sometimes state-sponsored, state-backed entities, but make sure that we impose those costs in a place that Vladimir Putin, who is allowing this to take place from his soil, can actually feel the cost and convince him that it's in his best interest to stop this from happening and stop attacking America through this cyber tool that is not much different than other kinds of attacks on the United States.
But, Mr. Secretary, let's look back at the Trump record. Under President Trump, the administration didn't stop Russia from completing, and they continued during the Trump administration to build the Nord Stream pipeline. By the end of the administration, it was 90% completed, and President Trump never condemned Russia for the poisoning of Alexei Navalny or his arrest, and both of those happened on his watch.
Well, Chris, you said it yourself. They didn't complete the pipeline. We'd imposed real sanctions on the ships that were doing the construction, the insurers that were underwriting it. We made clear that that pipeline was not going to be completed. It would not have been completed had we had 4 more years. I'm very, very confident of that. And with respect to human rights, we take a back seat to no one. I heard Secretary Blinken talk about the work they're doing to try and convince the Europeans to stand alongside us on human rights violations in China and the work that they've done defending human rights against Russian abuses. We were tough there too, Chris. I'm proud of the work we did there. It was good work, it was serious work, and it made a difference.